Alrighty, so the saying goes, those who can do and those who can't teach. For me, it's those who can't react. And today, we have some more updates in the chess world. Woke up and Mr. Kramnik had a fresh blog post. So we're going to head over there. And it's titled, On Recent Hysteria. For those who haven't read it yet, I will read it to you. I have checked tonight a few comments in a couple of videos, chessbrah for example, on my previous post. Shout out to Vlad for watching the channel. Frankly, a lot of nonsense have been written on web about it. That is nothing unusual. Still, I would like to clarify things, explain my stand. While listening to Eric Hansen's YouTube video, was quite surprised to hear something no one tells publicly, but everyone is aware of in private. Quote, by the way, he said Eric Rosen before apparently, and he fixed it. That's okay. Eric Rosen catching a few strays. Anyways, in the last few years, particularly, a lot of professional players have either expressed to me that Hikaru is cheating or asked me if I think Hikaru is cheating. What a coincidence. Same happened to me, and likely those were different players. Probably the guys that Vlad is, talking to aren't always the same ones that I'm talking to. I didn't break into the upper echelon of chess GM, so he's got a different lounge than me, but still probably a shared pool. I have never really checked it or thought about it, therefore decided to check the statistics. I strongly believe no one is Caesar's wife, and everyone who is from time to time heavily outperforming must be checked seriously, including myself, of course. So when I first read this, I was like, whoa, what does that saying mean? Let's get cultured while we're at it. I like reading. I believe Vlad was referring to this. What does Caesar's wife must be above suspicion mean? I looked it up. Definition. People associated with public figures must not be suspected of being a part of any wrongdoing. So in the context of this, even though it's Hikaru, even though he's a public guy, even then, still has to be checked. He's not Caesar's wife. Not above suspicions. So we learned something. Now I'm going to use that phrase sometimes. Anyways, having checked Hikaru's statistics carefully, I have found numerous low probability performances both of him and some of his opponents, some of which have extremely low mathematical probability, according to mathematicians. Way below 1%, according to calculations of those professional mathematicians. One of it presented recently, more to follow. Considering all above said, leaving it without any further checking would be an insult to all those professional players, who might be wrong in their conclusions but have the full right, seeing numerous highly unusual performances, to ask for explanations. Even if it's not my goal or legacy to give conclusions, it is obvious to me that deeper checking must take place in such cases. Whatever the name of the player, I have no idea about the outcome of this checking, which of course will never be done by chess.com, but ignoring so many huge inconsistencies is just being non-objective and completely biased, I strongly believe. There is more than one possible explanation of some statistics of the well-known streamer and chess player, but the least likely that all players involved in it are clean, in quotations, mathematically and according to basic common sense combined with a basic knowledge of chess. In the meantime, I would offer to make similar detailed investigations of my games and performances, but only welcome this, so hard to understand those tears and shouts of others, especially over performers. Nobody is above the law or should have special position among chess players. There is nothing more to tell concerning this late hysteria after my previous post. I will continue to present various true statistics and couldn't care less about the names of the players involved because we, chess players, are in one boat, equal in rights, and must be treated in the same manner, whatever rating or performance some might have. I enjoy reading these posts. First reaction is, I agree with the Caesar's wife statement that everybody can be checked. You see this in MMA, things like that, the drug testing. So I don't have an issue with that. And in my reactions, I'm okay with Kramnik publishing a blog. It's up to the public, have their own opinions, form their opinions. But yeah, I mean, I still find it interesting to hear from a former world champion and somebody with like a lifetime of chess. What's also a bit interesting is it's 11 p.m. right now, and Kramnik stayed up pretty late responding to people. See, 57 minutes ago, which would be maybe 4 a.m. in Europe. I respect the energy. When people say he should not be allowed to publish this, I think he should be allowed to, and people have a right to judge accordingly. So Kramnik published this, and then to continue the reaction train, Hikaru started responding. If I have any more comments on this, I mean, I'll share some at the end of the video as well. I would say like here, when I say a lot of professional players, I'm not exaggerating there. Kramnik has heard it, and he probably has his own opinion about it, that, as well. Whereas my opinion, I shared in the last video, I've thought Hikaru's, being clean the whole time. But yeah, there's part of it is also that, in the past, online chess this is kind of like the first generation of online players where we have so many events online. We have a lot of data to analyze. So this generation should have the strongest online players in history because that wasn't the focus in the past. But anyways, we got to get to the juicy stuff, right? Hikaru responded, so let me put on these headphones. And he had a couple of good lines here. I'm going to crank up the volume. Let's go here.
Through this game, I literally don't care.
One sec. Let's full screen this.
Through this game, I literally don't care. I want to have fun. Life is too short to be serious. Kramnik needs to learn that at some point. Which I would also say, like, when people wonder about my future, like, I don't see myself playing chess in any kind of serious way past the age of 40, specifically because I refuse to go senile like Kramnik and like get angry that I'm not as good as I once was. So when people wonder about my future, like, I might play past 40, but I'm not gonna be playing once I'm washed, because like
that's pretty juicy. He doesn't want to be senile like Kramnik in his 40s. Kramnik's still pretty young and pretty strong at chess. He doesn't want to be washed, so that's funny. That's juicy stuff. I don't think Kramnik is senile, but I understand the perspective if you think he's off his rocker with all these comments. And then Hikaru wasn't done. We have another line here.
Some might have. So, Kramnik clearly has lost his mind, unfortunately. He presents zero statistics.
Let me move my camera. Nobody wants to see my cam.
I think he's just full of shit. Sorry, I said it. That's just all that needs to be said. Says literally nothing here. He's already, even if he tries to pretend he hasn't accused people, he's already accused Bordnik, he's already accused Jocelyn, he's already accused Lazovic, and I think he's also accused Andreikin of cheating as well, with his quote-unquote statistics. So, like, the fact of the matter is,
so this is a bit of the irony in the chess world right now. Kramnik is going after everybody. I think I've never, gone public with accusing other professional players. I don't know enough. One of the only cases that I was quite sure a GM was cheating was a case, and it was on YouTube many years ago, 5-6 years ago, with an Israeli GM. I thought for sure he was cheating, and I just had to wait for things to come out. But I was like, that definitely something is up there. There's some irony in this case. Hikaru is bringing up all these cases of Kramnik going after people, but if you want, which is true, I don't know all of Kramnik's accusations, but I know he's been going after or publishing a lot. The irony here is Hikaru is the GOAT of accusing people online of cheating. He's the OG. He is the GOAT. He used to accuse so many people of cheating. But this was before chess was as popular. So we have these waves of online opinions. Right now, Kramnik's the bad guy, and Hikaru's the good guy. But you go back 5 or 10 or even 15 years ago, for a long time, Hikaru probably still has the GOAT status. I've been accused, I've been blocked. Plenty of other players I know have been blocked. And for sure, most of those cases, the people were not cheating. Hikaru would tell you you're cheating, he'd complain. So it's not just Kramnik that has the paranoia, but he says what's on his mind and he words it strongly. He feels more strongly about it than most. So he's willing to risk his reputation for good or for bad. But there have been waves of this kind of paranoia online, and Hikaru definitely has done it a bunch. But now he's more reformed and he doesn't do it as much anymore, which is fair play to him. Let's say better behavior. But he also did it a lot. So I mean, the point is like so many extremely strong players have at one point or another thought that like a lot of people were on some steroids, so to speak, right? Like it really is the case. So there's irony right now. There's waves of popularity, who's good and who's bad, for sure.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's making stuff up, and it's very sad to see that someone who is not a statistician, is not a mathematician, someone who is a great chess player, former world champion, unfortunately has lost his mind. That's the bottom line for what I have to say, really, in general terms about this. It really is very sad to see, because frankly, he just doesn't understand what he's talking about.
Frankly, I mean, obviously it makes sense. Hikaru's defending himself and saying Kramnik's full of shit. But again, this shit flying has happened years in the past with different players. But now the hysteria is at an all-time high. Prize money's higher online. Players are starting to stream and share their opinions more freely because of the mediums available. So there you go. The viewers win. The viewers win. So Hikaru had 2 clips there. I think that was pretty juicy. And what else do I have? That's pretty much it. I have a couple things to share afterwards, but I mean, yeah, like there's a couple comments I was reading on YouTube. First of all, half the people didn't watch the video. They were saying I was accusing Hikaru. No, my stance was I don't think he is. And part of that knowing him for a long time, seeing him play in person. Then some people say he's a streamer or he's so good he can't be. I agree with Kramnik's point there. Everybody should get checked. Could you theoretically cheat while streaming? I think so. Do I think Hikaru is? No. Do I think you can still comment on your moves and still have a bit of support? Yes. Do I think that's happening in Hikaru's case? No. So anybody, even Magnus, if somebody like, we don't want to get into a stage where everybody's accusing everybody, but I also don't think, anyone's untouchable. So it's just a bit funny there, what's happening, because yeah, Hikaru has been on the other side, but he hasn't. To his point, when Hikaru did accuse people in the past, I felt a lot of that was his competitive nature, as opposed to bringing statistics. I do not have a math background. I do not know statistics. Kramnik's trying to use statistics. I can't comment on that. I that's just above my pay grade. I'll let all the smart people and people who are experts in that field go by. Usually when I'm looking at cheating, a lot of that's feel and understanding of chess, knowing how things work, but it's not statistics. So when Hikaru was doing it, it wasn't like he was doubling down on it so much. Kramnik's not necessarily doubling down on things in regards to Hikaru, but he's doubling down on the statistics. Because those statistics aren't just catching Hikaru in his case. I think he's saying there's a lot of people. That's, yeah, I don't know. I've explained in the last video, Hikaru can go 10-0 against 2900s and 2950s. They're FMs, they're IMs. There's a psychological advantage for Hikaru. There's an online advantage. He's just a better player. It's 3-0 blitz as well. He's got these online intangible skills. One of the best calculators, one of the best with the mouse skills of all time. Bullet players, you name it. So many things for him that I think he can kind of score 9.5 or 10 out of 0, called an adoption, against some of these 2900 players. I think that that would happen at some point. You play, hundreds of thousands of games that you can probably run up a 30-0 score. I think he could run up a 30-0 score against the 2900. It's kind of like he would just break somebody's will in a match. So I think he's capable of it, of that. So that's where the statistics and me they just don't see eye to eye, because I think he's capable. Now, to end off on a high note, a wholesome note, Hikaru and Magnus played on Twitter today. Okay? And Hikaru mouse slipped right here. Bishop f1, bishop c4. I think he meant bishop d3. And Magnus tweets, wins all these online events yet doesn't know how pawns capture. Interesting. I think Magnus thought he was being pretty witty here, because he's a witty guy. Interesting is that vague comment that means suspicious. I use it, other people use it. But I think he's being so sarcastic, I don't think anyone took this seriously, right? So it doesn't look like a jab at Hikaru, it almost looks playful. And then Hikaru Nakamura responds, I know you don't know how the knight moves. I was hoping you didn't know how the pawn moves too. 2 exclamation marks and a laughing face. I'll tell you what, I do not think that's Hikaru responding on the account. I think that's someone else using the account. But if you ask me, it looks like they're flirting with each other. What kind of interaction is this? Oh, you don't know how the pawns capture? Oh, I didn't think you knew how the pawns captured. This doesn't make any sense at all. It looks like those 2 guys are flirting. So wholesome interaction between the 2 top online players. But I can't imagine that's Hikaru. Like, what kind of response is that? But they're wholesome. They're flirting. So that's the latest. That's the latest. So to summarize, keep posting, Mr. Kramnik. I will keep reading. I do think there's GMs and title players among us that are cheating, but how to catch them and how to prove it, I don't have the names. I don't have the statistics, but my impression has been the whole time that Hikaru has some very strong natural ability for speed chess and online chess, but to be continued. As I said in the last video, I can't say 100%. Might be 99%, 99.9. Can't say for anybody it's 100%, but to me, don't think he is. And, well, the chess drama train continues. Hope you join in. See you guys on YouTube for another episode.